Hi, guys. My name's Harper. I'm 19 now, and a year ago, I got a ridiculous tattoo done on the craziest part of my body to piss off my parents. My parents were always really strict, like super strict. I couldn't hang out with certain friends because they had a bad influence on me. I had no sleepovers. I always had to be home at 6 p.m. If I was late by 10 minutes, I'd be grounded for a week. Everybody was enjoying their time, partying, socializing, exploring different places, and finding themselves. And I was sitting with my parents, eating dinner in silence while they talk about what they saw on the news. And what infuriated me the most was that they were completely different with my brother. He'd go to parties and he'd stay at his friends overnight. They'd keep telling me that it's not how girls should act. Girls should stay humble and pure. Yeah, right. So when I reached 18, I just snapped. It started with small things. They usually controlled how I dressed. They had to approve every little thing that I wore to school. So I put revealing clothes in my backpack and I changed in the school bathroom. It felt so good to finally break out of my shell that I started to do more things that I liked. I'd lie to them, and instead of studying in the library, I'd go to the mall to meet my friends. But back then, I tried to keep my little rebellion act a secret until they found out. During the parent-teacher conference, my teacher told them that my clothes looked outrageous. So they went full-on dictatorship on me. Every morning, they searched my backpack, throwing all my things on the table, checking my phone and messages, asking me to take a picture of where I was and whom I was with anytime they'd asked. I just couldn't take it anymore. And this is where it all got crazy. I started dating this guy that my friends introduced me to, Dean. He was super cool. He had tattoos all over and rode a motorcycle. So one time, he drove me home and they saw him. My mom went out, started yelling, lashing out on him, calling him names and threatening that she's gonna call the police if she sees him again. Then and there, I decided, what the hell? Why do I even bother trying to please them? I laughed and I told her, good luck with that. Hopped on the motorcycle again and we drove away. I heard my mom shouting like crazy from the distance and it felt so good. I felt free. But my adventures didn't end there. We went to his home and stayed there for the whole evening. My parents messaged me like a dozen times. You have 5 minutes. If you don't come back, don't bother coming home at all. I read them out loud to Dean and we laughed. I took a picture of his home filled with smoke and these dark paintings on the wall and sent them saying, I won't. And my dad saw it and started calling me nonstop. I thought about blocking him, really, but it just felt so good to see them going crazy. Maybe they'll know how I felt living under their roof and following their rules. And then I saw a tattoo machine on the table in Dean's home. And I had an amazing idea. Now, I really wish I wouldn't have. He told me that he does tattoos on his friends in his home. So I suggested, why not do it on me? Even better, why not do it somewhere he's never done before, like just a little bit above my private parts? And he got excited too. We decided it should be a badass pair of wings since I was finally free. And he started tattooing. And I nearly cried. It hurt. It hurt so much. But I didn't want to be seen as a crybaby, so I tried to suffer in silence. And after a couple of hours, it was done. And honestly, I've never felt more alive and happy. But then we heard a car pull up. I looked through the window and saw my parents like, what the hell? Dean looked scared and he started mumbling like, look, I don't want any trouble. No problems with the police, So I came out to talk to them alone. My father took my hand and just seated me in the car by force. Just then, I found out that they tracked my phone. We came home, my parents started shouting, and then I started packing my stuff like I didn't care. I had the most amazing evening and a secret that they would never know. My father just told me to go to my room, and as soon as I got in, he locked the doors. I mean, seriously? They were keeping me in prison. I was laying in my bed, hearing them scream, but I felt happy. I felt like I'd won. Until morning, when I started feeling an itch. I checked my tattoo and I saw that it had started to swell. Like, what is happening? I tried showering, but it wasn't helping. I tried calling Dean, but he literally blocked me. Have I made a mistake? I tried calming down, stayed in my bed for the whole day. My parents didn't even check on me. They were probably decided how to punish me. It was getting worse and worse. Like, what do? I can't tell them. I felt waves of heat and cold, and I started to shiver. And by the next morning, it felt like a nightmare. My mom came home to see what I was doing and immediately called emergency. It was all so blurry. I remember seeing my mom taking some of my clothes and putting them into my backpack. I felt so alone and miserable. Dean left me. My mom was packing my stuff. They're gonna leave me all alone at the hospital, sick. And I didn't even know what was happening to me. I remember Dean's dirty home and what I've read on the internet. Oh my God. He's could have given me HIV or hepatitis. I mean, the doctor started asking me all of these questions. I felt so embarrassed and scared. I really didn't want to tell him about the tattoo and where I had it, but I had no choice. So I showed him. I wanted to die of embarrassment. And it turns out my tattoo was infected, but it should get better eventually. I mean, he told me to stay in the hospital for a while until the fever goes down and prescribed me with antibiotics. But I was laying in the hospital bed, crying, sobbing because I felt so alone. The stuff that my mom packed was sitting on the floor. And here I was, alone, homeless. My life felt like a nightmare until I saw my mom talking to the doctor in the hall. She came into my room and I was so confused. I was sure she left. I was mumbling through my tears, like, I thought you threw me out. And her face looked worried. She actually smiled at me and told me, "Don't be silly." Then she hugged me. I don't think I remember the last time she hugged me. Even though my parents were strict as hell during the most horrific evening of my life, they stayed by my side. They loved me. They took care of me. I managed to tell them sorry and eventually fell asleep, seeing two loving faces in front of me. I had damaged my body irreversibly, and I won't be able to erase this horrific image from my private parts. But at least I learned that the ones that truly love you will stick with you for better or for worse. Even though right now, all of us are too embarrassed to talk about my tattoo, I hope that one day we'll be able to laugh about all of this.